Now we move to what I consider the most important house on the property. That's the only house that's on its original foundation still. At least we think it is. But notice it had a nice porch across the front, and, shutters on the windows and everything. And they were all large windows at that time. Here's another picture of it. This is off of a postcard with the rocking chairs out front. Very homey. And you can see, if you look down to the right-hand side, way in the back, you can see there's another additional storage in the back there, which we took down and got rid of. Here it is. I suppose most of it can be remembered that way. Incidentally, do you remember the eagle on the front lawn? That's off the flagpole at the Milford Center. We had the hurricane and it knocked the flagpole down, and the city gave us the eagle. And we straightened its little wings out, and we used to pick it out every Sunday when we were open and stick it on the front lawn along with that bench on the other side. Here's a back view of it. Only reason this is so crude looking is the only time I was ever able to get a picture of this was when we cleared everything out to start building on down in the stockade house. And so I had some place I could stand to take this picture. Again, we went into restoration on this house in 1980. And what we did, as you can see here, I tried to show some of the typical things where we put the steel plates and bolts in to pull the building back together again. Some places where the timbers were cracked, and we put the vertical pieces in with the bolts in it. Some places like this place because it was so rotted. So what we did was cut that section out and replace it with a sturdier piece. Again, this is the same thing. You can see up above how much of it was broken and battered. This one wasn't so much battered as I took it because of the burn marks on it. We haven't figured that one out. Again, this is just another view to show the size of the timbers that we used in the storehouse. This part was uncovered when we were doing the restoration work. We found that all this wood trim up on the second floor had been notched and plastered over to make it look like part of the house. But they also covered up this poor little thing in the corner here, which is, I believe, is called a sheep's knee or a sheep's, something to do with a sheep's leg anyway. You can see the jog in the timber. And of course, we kept that open and kept it uncovered. Here it is, and we finally got the outside part of it mostly done. Windows are boarded up. The new windows have been found and purchased and put in place. And they're all covered up. The view inside, where we are changing the size of the windows back to what is deemed the original size of the windows. And there's the window. Well, one of them anyway. And we replaced the windows with these and then filled in below them, because the other ones were obviously Victorian windows. And they had no business in this house if we were going to maintain a 1698 to 1700 type house. And they're put back together, not painted yet, but the windows are in and the paneling is repaired and almost looks like real. And this is inside the house in the living room over there. And those panels, while the paneling is 200 years old, it's all new. Again, Peter Brocky came through. He had this wood stored in his garage that he had picked up somewhere upstate. And so he volunteered it, and we could make a paneling over there that would look typical. Now, most of you know, if you've been in the house, on the other side is the caretaker's apartment, and that's where the big oven is, which was put in much, much later. Again, this is a finished view of the inside, just for the records. Again, upstairs, you see we left those things exposed, even though we finished off the walls, put the lights in and all. We left them exposed so that people could see how the timbers were put together. And incidentally, the other thing that I thought was interesting, this is the one end of the house on the second floor of the small room. I had always been told that this was the widow's addition on the end of the house. This room and the room below it, they were smaller and added on. When we took the house off the front, all the paneling off the front of the house, it turned out those four timbers were numbered 1, 2, 3, and that one was 4. So they were numbered consecutively. So obviously they were all put up at the same time. Now this is a sort of a way I had of explaining it. This is what it looked like in 1930. This is what it looked like in 1950. This is what it looked like in 1983 after we got done with it. But some of the arguments kept on going. So I made these. The part that you see in solid lines is what is the original house, as far as we know, which would be somewhere between, say, 1698, 1695 and 1710. Because we had two architects here and they couldn't agree with each other on the date. So that was what we settled on. The next part was put in across the back of the house, like you see it. That's where the little kitchen is now. And then the other part, which is part of the other house where the fireplace is, in the caretaker's apartment. And that was added on later. Then the last part was added on, which was a two-story addition at the end of the house, and it came built right over the rest of it. Built right out, and this is the way you see the house today. This is the way it looks today. And there are the three of the children, all standing over there. Again, I apologize for the picture. It's not as good, but I can't find a good one as usual. I guess I ran out of pictures.